we are getting ready to start a new project, a new swim pond out here in the woods in West Fork, Arkansas, and we've got an absolutely gorgeous setting. All this beautiful tree line. Got this driveway that's wrapping around. It's gonna go out to the woods back in here. They've got two really cool cabins out in here. It's a really cool hangout spot. Got some seating areas. They built their own little small koi pond there, but we're gonna build a really sweet 17 by 30 foot rec pond here with a negative edge and a wetland filter. And we've got this awesome space to work with. So they've got this real neat rustic walkway that they've made with just the native existing stones that they have on the property, as long as these little walls. And so right in this area here, we're gonna do our 17 by 30 rec pond, and in this area over here we've got water and electric around already. We're going to have a 2,500 gallon negative edge reservoir, so we'll have waterfalls facing this way, which we're going to try to get views of this area on the home here, the little cabin there. And then our wetland filter is going to go up in that area. We'll raise that elevation. We've got this awesome slope to work with. It's just going to be such a cool project. But I'm going to start ripping out all these old stone structures that were here. I'm not sure what they were. We've got a little wall here, and it looks like maybe this might have been gardens. There was a big spring that ran through here, but they've rerouted that spring around that way with some dirt work, and there was an old pond that wasn't worth fixing up there that they filled in. Most of that drainage stuff is not an issue anymore, but I think they were trying to use that to water a garden in here. There's lots of old stone walls just done by hand. Really interesting. But I'm gonna clear it all out, clean it all up so we can lay out our lines and start digging this thing out.
A few moments later.
All right, we got everything kind of finalized with the customers. We've got our negative edge laid out right here. It's going to be the 2,800 gallon negative edge reservoir. The layout I've gone with, our water and electric is right over there, so we'll put our pump vaults over in that one of probably this edge right in here. Pond and everything's going up there, but I'm going to get on the machine, get this excavated out, use all this material to build up this low edge on the pond on this side. Got most of our negative edge rocked in today. Got this real high part built. We got our pump vaults hidden. We'll still have to do a few outcroppings around in here. Electrician will be out tomorrow, so that we're going to get the pump set down in here tomorrow. Figure out all of these plumbing connections coming out of our intake. But this is our first waterfall coming down into the negative edge. There's our second, and we'll have one more. That's another 12 inches high. I'm gonna try to get it back in here somewhere, and then we're gotta do a little bit of slate work. We're gonna get another little small fall coming in this gap right there. That's what that little gap opening's for. Looking pretty cool. We're gonna do kind of a washed out beach area here, also in between there. Ended up with a really neat shape in our basin. This liner will come over this way. We'll have a big outcropping, kind of taller one right in here. And then once we get this one built, we can start excavating out the pond. And then there's a large patio and some retaining wall boulders all on the back side there, and then a big patio there. Slowly but surely. We got another rock to set here, another small beach area right in there. And then we got to do a seam on a little bit, a piece here to do our next shelf, because we were going to have to cut back in just a little bit, and we don't have quite enough liner to do that. So we're going to seam a piece onto this, and then we can bring it up and we'll do our overlap with our pond liner. Well, we've got the negative edges rocked in. We just got to do all the cobble work We got 3 really nice waterfalls. Be another waterfall in there between those 2, real short one. But that'll be our pond water level right in there. And we got all of that cut out. So there's their existing walkway. We'll have a patio that ties right into that and wraps around, and then there'll be some big boulder outcroppings, retaining rocks, boulders that'll go around that edge and then tie into where the wetland's gonna be in out there. So didn't get a whole lot done today, but got some good stuff done. We'll be back at it next week. This is gonna be so cool. It's gonna be a beach area straight behind this, so views from the house and the walkways looking back here, it'll be really pretty cool look. Yeah, so once we get those boulders set, we can redraw out the pond and start digging the pond. So about a half a day's work setting those boulders, and then we can lay out the pond and start digging it and get our liner in, and this thing will start taking shape. SD card was full yesterday when I was building this wall, but yesterday we got this better part of this retaining wall built. That's gonna sink this patio space above this grade or below this grade up here for the finished road bed. And then our pond edge is starting right around in this. We got about a 6-foot band of patio going around it on this end, and then we've got a step down from the existing walkway to this patio grade. And then so we got to get all this done before I can start digging the pond, because once I do dig the hole for the pond, I can't get any equipment back in here, so gotta get these boulders set first. So we're about to knock that out. That's what we're getting ready to do today. Got the main excavation done for the pond. This low point is going to be our under drain. We're going to put a thick layer of gravel across the whole top of this because this thing is solid clay. So basically the whole footprint of the bottom of the pond is going to act like a giant French drain. River just threw down in here. We're going to throw a lightweight geo down before we put the gravel in. We'll get that down. We'll bed this, put our drain pipe down in there, and then cover the whole thing. Getting closer. My focus today is I'm gonna cut into these vaults, do the plumbing, get it over to the pump, and then get our plumbing coming out of the pump down into our future trench for our plumbing this way. Okay, we got our plumbing done. We got 3-inch going into the volute. We reduced up, we put a 4-inch line in here, reduced down to 3-inch to get into there. Ran 4-inch over to a 4-inch Y, reduced down to 3-inch. We have 2 3-inch pipes that go into our pump vaults all the way down to the bottom. We've got a 3-inch check valve and a 3-inch screen down at the bottom. This is our giant pre-filter for the pumps in the reservoir to store water to help keep the temperature down in the water in the pond. So we're pre-filtering the water before it gets to our pump, and then we're also got another pre-filter inside of there, so if anything small enough gets through these pump vaults, it can't get into the pipe. So if we knock a cobble or something down in here when we're doing maintenance or checking on stuff, rock won't be able to get sucked up in that pipe and mess up our pump. West Fork, Arkansas, getting back at it. We've got most of our pond rocked in, and I'm to the point where I can finish digging out the rest of it. We can dig this ramp out of here, get the whole excavation in place, the whole liner, underlay, and drain put in and installed, and put it all back. Then we ought to be able to finish rocking in this pond and then start digging the wetland. You guys are working on a little beach area right there where Johnny's sitting. Is a beach right straight behind that waterfall, getting that grade built up and feathered out this way. So that'll be really cool transition behind the edge, for the edge behind that waterfall. We've got our weeper in place for our overlap for our pond and our reservoir liner, so we can start to flip all this over and clean all that up and foam it in, and then we can start setting in. We got to do another stepper here and another stepper right there, and then we'll start building our staircase that walks down into the pond off of these two guys here. We got this big guy set, so water level is about right there, so about 1.5 feet of this rock is in water, and the rest of it comes way up out of water, but it ties our pond into this retaining wall that wraps around. It's got a really cool look to it. It'll be a really cool rock to sit on and enjoy the pond. Brave enough you could jump off of that thing into here. It'd be really, really cool. So our pond excavation, I gotta finish, is coming out to about right in here. So this is the ramp that we had put in place. You could crawl down inside of our excavation and set all these big boulders that we couldn't reach from this side or from that side. But now we're to the point where I can dig all this out, finish our drain. It's going to come all the way to the end here, and then it's also going to come over somewhere right where I'm standing. We'll put a sump pit here. That way we'll have a pump inside of here that sucks water out from underneath the liner if any traps, because we've got really, really solid red clay, gray clay mix on this mountain, so we don't want any water getting trapped in there. We're going to pull it out with that system. We're getting close. It's looking sweet. Guys are getting our drain tiles in place, marking that out. We're going to cut it, and then we'll run one this way that goes down at an angle to our sump pit pipe here. We'll have a pump that sits down in there with a float switch, and if any water starts to build up pressure in there, the pump will kick on, and we'll have a pipe that runs out downhill. Pipe it on down. We didn't get where we were trying to get to today, but we made a lot of progress. We've got the liner all the way in the hole. The hole's completely dug. We got our staircase walking out. It's looking pretty stinking sweet. Walking out of the pond, it's 80% done. We have 2 more steps to do, so we got 1 more step, and then one will be like a floating stepper that ties in them to these other 2 that we've got. So we've got this staircase coming up. Still got to put some cobbles or a boulder, small boulder here, and then right here we can start making our way around. We only have to come up about 2 feet, because that is where our wetland filter is going to start. The excavation is going to be back behind this, so this liner will get folded over. We'll dig out for our wetland right in there, fold all this liner over, get that installed. But we want 2 feet of water on top of that wetland, so these boulders are only going to be about between 24 and 30 inches tall, over to about right in here, and then we'll have to start stepping up and getting big and tall again, tie into that retaining wall that goes all the way up to the road there. pretty sweet though. I'm liking it so far. These steps are cool. Walking up here, we've got another step. It's gonna have to go here, and we'll have a floating step in between this floating step and that frame rock. So you'll walk here, step here, here, here. We've got another one going there, and then onto the patio. Well, we're gonna get back at it today. We had to shut down for the weekend. We got a ton of rain, made a big old mess. But me and River here, we're gonna start getting some of that picked up so we can get back to work. A little bit of our excavation kind of collapsed on this side where it got so saturated. The excavator held most of it up, but some of it we'll have to dig out a little bit, but we'll get after it. It's supposed to rain for the next couple of days, so we're gonna work on getting this side done so that won't happen again, and kind of go from there. We just got the pump in here. He's grabbed another pump to throw down in here and get this water out of here. I'm gonna hook up our pump for our drainage underneath because we've got some water underneath as well. We had some of this kind of slid down and it's buried on a fold on the liner there, so we'll have to fold this back and get that out of there so we can get the slack out of the liner that way. So I'm gonna put this down and get back to work. We're going, we're still going. We've got the staircase knocked out, it looks pretty sweet. And we've got all of our steppers in place, and we got part of our patio started over there so we could finish the edge on that. I'll walk up there and show you that, but it's looking pretty awesome. We got a huge amount of rain. We got a giant, massive mess behind me. So back behind me where this is all dirt and the liner here, this is where our wetland's gonna go. We gotta get all this dried out and cleaned up. We got some rock set here for this side. So we got a lot left to do, but it's going. So once we get this cleaned up where we can throw our liner back and finish rocking this in, then we'll throw everything over this way. We'll lay out our wetland up there, get that dug down, and then this liner will lay in the wetland as well. And then we'll get all of that rocked in. But this is our staircase going up. It turned out really cool. So you walk up and then you've got these steppers here that float. So this is all water, that's our negative edge. So you can step up onto this one, step here, there, there. That's the start of the patio right there, so water will be touching the patio. Or you can step onto this stepper here, and then there'll be a few flagstone steps that go over to patio over there. That's our under drain, and our plumbing coming up, it'll go out. So if water gets underneath, trapped, it'll start pumping and kick it out that way. And it's just starting to look pretty cool. This is our stepper, so I'm on one. You step across here, step across, and then this is the start of our patio. It'll go on around. We'll have a plant pocket here. We'll get another boulder to set right here, maybe two. And then this patio will wrap all the way around to there. So it'll be pretty sweet. Anxious to start getting stuff cleaned up. It's been a mess for a long time, but we're getting really close. got it wrapped up. It looks like a lot, but it's just a lot of liner needs trimmed up and a bunch of soil brought in. Bunch of quick stuff. We got all the waterfalls built. We got maybe 4 more rocks to set up there at the headwaters. Negative edge is pretty well buttoned up. There's one edge of liner that we're gonna wait till everything's running. There are gnats everywhere here. It's driving me nuts. We just got one little edge right there on the negative edge to button up, but I didn't want to finish that without seeing it run first. So we'll get it all running and then we'll tuck that liner and get it hidden. Got our waterfalls built. Gonna be pretty sweet, like it's just coming out of the road. And as soon as we get all this buttoned up, we can just knock out that retaining wall pretty quick. Negative edge going here. I love this gusher on this side, and it's skimming everything real nice and neat. Got our floating steps in. Water's clearing up pretty good. Got our falls built up there. Got these real low ones there that got a big push. Kind of see it ripping across the top of the surface there. Everything's working super good. We got a lot of edges tucked, but still got to get them finished. And then all of this wall, it's got lots of plant pockets. We're gonna get that backfilled with some good topsoil. We're gonna plant a lot of ferns and moss and stuff in there. That thing's gonna look absolutely awesome. It makes this real cool, sunken, cozy vibe down here for the pond. But absolutely loving how this turned out. Got this little ripple push across the surface of the water here. This is our wetland filter. It actually comes out to about right here. We laid that over and backfilled on top of it, and then it goes to right around there. So we built a lot of this on top of our wetland. Here's our snorkel right here. So this is our access to do our clean out. We got a set of outcropping here, maybe another one right in there to tie this patio into it. And there's a little bit of an elevation change right here, so we're gonna put something here, kind of hold that back off of the patio. But absolutely loving how this is turning out. Still got a lot left to do. We're gonna get it done.